Hello, welcome to the next edition of Country Cooking. I'm Mary Reese from Harriet, and with summer upon us now, it's starting to get warm and us women don't want to be in our kitchens all day long, so we're going to do crock pot cooking today. I got 3 different recipes we're going to put together for you guys to try. The first one we're going to do is beef stew. You can use a pound of chuck roast cut into chunks, or you can buy stew meat. Actually, what I'm using here is leftover roast that we had for supper last night. And I'm just going to turn it into beef stew because my husband does not really care for leftovers. This he'll eat. So what we need is about a pound of your meat. You want to cover the meat with water, and however many cups it's going to take, you want that many cubes or teaspoons of your beef bouillon to give it the base. Mine's been cooking all night on low, so we'll get done quicker. We can have it for lunch today. We're going to go ahead after it's hot, and we're going to add about 1 cup of celery stalks, sliced, diced, however you guys want to do it. A half a cup of diced onion. We're going to add about 2 cups of sliced carrots. If you want to cut them bigger, however, I cut them thin so that they'll cook a little quicker. Add that. And then we have about 2 cups of peeled and cubed potatoes that we're going to add. And we're just going to mix this all up. And we're going to let it cook, a good hour and a half on high. And then that way the vegetables will be tender. And then after the vegetables are all done, we'll go ahead and add some peas to it. We don't want to add those now because cooking them on high for an hour and a half, they'll be mush by the time we're ready. So I'm just going to take this on over and plug it in, and then I will get the next stuff ready. Oh, by the way, this beef stew is awesome if you make buttermilk biscuits with it. You don't want to take the time to make any. You can buy pre-made ones, but you got to have biscuits when you have beef stew. It's just the best. So I will be right back.
According to the FBI, a burglary occurs somewhere in the United States every 15 seconds. Is your home or business adequately protected? Wireless security packages from Valley start at just $17 per month. Video surveillance for your home and business is also available from Valley. Call 437-2615 for more information or to set up a time for your free customized quote.
Okay, now that we've got our beef stew in the crock pot cooking, we're going to do another one. We're going to do Salisbury steak in a crock pot. Something new for me too, but we're going to try it. It seems like it's a pretty easy recipe. So we're going to need 2 pounds of ground beef and put it in a bowl because you're going to mix some goodies to it. To that, we're going to add 1 envelope of the dry onion soup mix, Lipton or Core, whichever you can find. We're going to do half a cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. And a 1/4 cup of milk. And we do have to mix this with our hands, so don't be afraid to get them dirty. We'll just get it all mixed up here really good. Then we're going to patty them out into, the recipe says 8 burgers, hamburger patties, so we'll get them pattied out and then we'll go from there. I think I should grab a plate to put these on though, so I don't have to lay them on the counter until I get ready to put them in the frying pan, because my pan has to be hot, so I don't want to try pattying and try browning at the same time. We know how well my browning goes, so I'll be right back. Okay, we'll go ahead and patty this out into like 8 patties here, and however big you want them. It doesn't really say on the recipe how thick they should be or anything either, so the thicker they are, the longer they're going to take. And it's supposed to be a Salisbury steak, so you might as well make them kind of big. Who wants to have a thin steak? We might get 6 out of this here, who knows? And they don't have to be perfect. We're going to have some gravy over the top of them. This time of the year it's really nice because it's nice outside. We've all got yard work or gardening to do or running to the fields for our husbands. And you know, if you want to take a nice meal out for them, if they're out in the field haying or spraying or planting or whatever they're doing, they'll be surprised if you show up with a crock pot full of a real meal rather than a cooler full of sandwiches. At our place, between my husband and my son, one would eat while the other kept the equipment going. So I'd be out in the field for a little while waiting for him to finish up eating, but that's all right. Yeah, we'll get about 7 out of here. Almost done. One more after this. And of course you don't have to add any other seasonings because between the Italian breadcrumbs and the Lipton or dry onion soup mix, it's going to have flavor in it. They smell good the way it is. Okay, now that that's done, I have to wash my hands and then we'll go on to the next part. Okay, now that we got our patties patted out, we have to add 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil to the pan. And we're going to turn that on kind of high because we want the beef to get seared when we put it in. While the oil is heating up, we're going to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of flour just on the plate because we need to dredge our beef patties through that. So we'll just spread that out like this, and we're just going to this and this, and then we're just going to put them right in the hot pan. And you can hear them cooking, so it's going to sear them nice and good to keep those juices in while we have it in a crock pot. And this is going to take 2 times because my frying pan's not big enough to hold all 7 patties, but that's all right. We're just going to quickly brown both sides. Those 2 go for a second. And while that side's cooking, I'll grab the crock pot. And when we get this other side brown, what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the crock pot and stack them as a pyramid. That way it gets more of the heat through each one of them. So we'll put the first 4 in the crock pot. Get it out. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing to the last 3. Okay, we'll let those brown. And with the Salisbury steak, you can go ahead and, after it's finished, serve it with white rice on the side, mashed potatoes, whatever your family likes with it, fried potatoes, whatever you'd order if you went to a restaurant and ordered Salisbury steak, go ahead and you can serve yourself, your family the same stuff at home here. second batch is all been seared, so we'll put those in. We're just kind of stacking it all. So once you get that done, then you want to take a medium-sized bowl and you want to add 2 cans of the cream of chicken soup. Pretty easy so far, isn't it? I like meals like this. Okay, you want to add 3/4 of a cup of water and 1 packet of the au jus gravy mix. You're going to put all this in the bowl and then we're going to go ahead and whisk it. You can use boiling water if you want to take the time to heat it up. It'll make your soup thin out a little bit quicker and your au jus mix in, but this is turning out pretty good. Get it mixed up as good as you can. And then we're going to go ahead and just pour that over the top of the Salisbury steaks. Talk about a lot of gravy. This is going to be awesome. I think you'll probably want to make mashed potatoes, because with this good gravy, I don't think you really want to use rice, but maybe you like gravy on your rice. Okay, this one is ready to be plugged into the outlet, and it says on the recipe for cook on low for 4 to 5 hours. I do have a conversion chart around here someplace. I'll find it and I'll give you guys some tips on that, but first I want to get this here plugged in and ready to go. Okay, I did find my conversion chart, oven to crock pot conversion. So if the oven time is 15 to 30 minutes, you can do an hour and a half to 2.5 hours on high, 4 to 6 hours on low. So it depends on how big of a hurry you're in. Lisa will have these posted on the Valley's homepage. 35 to 45 minutes, 2 to 3 hours on high, 6 to 8 hours on low. 50 minutes to 3 hours would be 4 to 5 hours on high, or 8 to 18 hours on low. And that's when you put it in before you go to bed at night and you let it cook all night, and then you serve it for supper the next evening. So anyway, those will be on Valley homepage, so you guys can take a look at that and maybe you want to print it off and keep it for your records.
Finally, an easy-to-use touchscreen computer is available now from Valley. Telekin comes with its software fully installed and ready to go right out of the box. Just connect your Telekin to the internet and enjoy the experience. This month you can save $100 on the 18.6-inch model or save $200 on the 20-inch model. Plus you'll get a free HP printer with the purchase of your Telekin and discounted installation. Call Valley today at 437-2615 for all the details.
Okay, for the third meal that we're going to prepare today, now this is what you call quick cooking, when you can do 3 meals in a half an hour. We're going to do what they call crock pot chicken parmesan, and we're going to start with our vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon just poured in the bottom of your crock pot, and I suppose that's just to keep the chicken from sticking. Then we're going to take 1 egg, and we're going to whip that in this bowl, because we're going to dredge the chicken breasts in here before we dredge them in the breadcrumbs. So just get that all mixed up good. Then we are going to take a 1/2 cup of Italian breadcrumbs, and we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper right to the breading, and that way you don't have to worry about getting each piece of chicken. And we're going to mix that up. Then we're gonna go ahead and take our chicken breasts that have been washed and cleaned. We wanna make sure and do that because of salmonella. You wanna be safe. And we're just gonna go ahead and dip the chicken in the egg. Flip it over, coat both sides. Shake off the excess. And you're gonna turn around and do the same thing in your breadcrumbs. And then just lay it inside there. And we're gonna do that. The recipe calls for 2 to 4. I'm doing it with 4 today. That way we'll make sure everybody gets them. And the recipe also says to add cheese to your breadcrumbs, but you know what? I found out that with the cheese, it doesn't stay on there anyway. So it's just as easy to add your cheese on top of your chicken after you get it all in the bottom of the crock pot. That way you know it's on the chicken. Somebody might get more cheese if you do it the other way, or they might not get any at all. So we're just coating both sides of this. We've got one more to do. And the 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs with the seasoning and stuff is actually about what you do need to do for chicken breasts, because there's not going to be a whole lot left in here when I get done with this. And so there, we got the 4 chicken breasts in the bottom. I need to wash my hands before I go ahead and do the cheese. Okay, so now that we've got the 1/2 cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, a 1/4 cup of the Parmesan cheese, your salt and pepper, in one bowl, your egg in the other, we've dredged it, and this is what we come up with. And so now, after we're done with that, it's all in there. We're gonna go ahead and layer or sprinkle the mozzarella cheese on top of that. It says 1 to 2 cups of the shredded. I like a lot of cheese, so we're gonna use the whole thing. And we'll just sprinkle that right on top of the 4 chicken breasts in there. You know what? I think we're gonna do 1.5 cups. 2 cups might be a little bit much. 1.5 cups is good. And so once the cheese is on, then we're gonna go ahead and add the marinara, the whole jar over the top of the chicken, cheese, and everything else that's in here. And this chicken parmesan is ready to be put in the crock pot and turned on, and we are going to cook it on low for 4 to 6 hours. I'll get my conversion chart and see what it goes for the on high. So be right back. Now that we've got the marinara sauce on it, we're going to go ahead and put it over in the crock pot base, and we're going to have it on high for 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours. You want to make sure your chicken is done, so we'll take a break, do a few commercials and stuff, and by the time we come back, our food will be ready, and we'll plate it up and show you how good all this stuff looks.
With a personal home safety system from Valley, you can enjoy the peace of mind that help is just minutes away. Sign up now and receive your personal safety equipment free of charge.
Okay, now that our crock pot stuff has had all afternoon to cook, we're going to get ready to plate it up so you guys can see what the finished product looks like. All 3 of them turned out really good, or at least they look like it. So first of all, we're going to start out with the chicken primavera, or chicken parmesan, I'm sorry. And we're just going to add some pasta to the plate. And then we'll take one of the chicken breasts with the cheese right on top and put it next on top of that, kind of to the side. And we'll drizzle some of the extra sauce onto the plate. So we've got that one. I didn't make any garlic bread. If you want that, you have to do it yourself. The next one we're gonna do is our beef stew, which we're gonna do last because I gotta heat up my peas. So we'll go to the Salisbury steak one. And I decided the gravy in here looks so good that we're gonna have to go ahead and do mashed potatoes with it. So I've got them mixed up. So we got our potatoes. Then we're gonna go ahead and add one of the Salisbury steaks. Oh, this gravy just looks awesome. It's nice and thick and rich. Put that here. Add some of the gravy. You can do a vegetable and do it on the side. You can make homemade dinner rolls if you'd like. Nothing like home cooking, and that's what country cooking is all about, right? And we will add the peas to our beef stew. This turned out really good looking too. Dump those right in. Give it a stir. I know my family's not going to be hungry when they come in the house and see all this food. So we've got the beef stew, and I did up some baking powder biscuits for them, so we've got that. And I think we're ready. They can come in and eat, and they're not going to be hungry when they get done. That's our show for this week. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning in again to Valley Video. All these recipes will be on the homepage. We're still waiting for people who want to be guests on the show. So please, if you submit a recipe, we'd love to have you be on the show. We'll see you next week.